This is Notes in the Margin, a podcast for people who are super excited about writing their non-fiction book, but perhaps, just perhaps, aren't quite doing it. If you always feel called to tile the bathroom or clean the toilet instead of writing your book, you are in the right place. Your host, Vicky Fraser, has been there, done that, and has literally written a book about it. Join Vicky and her husband Joe as they make notes in the margin about creativity, writing techniques, publishing, and general shenanigans, and get tips and tricks to help you write your book. Hello and welcome to Notes in the Margin.
It's going to take me a while to get used to that.
I'm Vicky Fraser, and this is
Joe. Your husband, Joe.
I know, but I thought you might like to say your own name.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. I don't think I've ever heard your middle name.
You can't just...
Give us your government name.
You can't just go around changing the intro without telling me.
Yes, I can. It's my podcast.
Spooked me.
Yes. Right.
What?
Welcome to the... Oh my God.
Jeez.
I don't know what's happening.
I know, you went off piste and now I'm lost.
Well, I feel like you tripped me up with your face. So, welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about... I'm going to be going through a few of the writing, editing and publishing tools that I use.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to list them all out. I'm just going to talk about them. And they're divided into 3 categories. No, wait.
Many categories.
They are divided into 4 categories: productivity, planning and writing, editing, and publishing. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know. So I'm not going to kind of list them all out, but I do actually have an article about this on my website, which I will link to in the show notes, which goes into a lot more detail and also links to some of them. And some of those are affiliate links. And if you would like to buy through those affiliate links, I'll make a few dollars.
Nice.
And I would really like that. So, these are only links to things that I actually use and like as well. So this isn't some bullshit affiliate,
You're not.
I would never affiliate with something that I haven't used.
You're not a big app shill.
Absolutely not. Big app shill. I'm a big app shill. A big ass shill. I don't. Right, anyway.
No.
But, Joe, what are you reading?
I'm reading Pre-Study by Patricia Lockwood.
Yes, that is correct. It's not a test.
Nice.
Is it good?
I've got absolutely no idea.
Oh, you started reading it last night and you were drunk.
I started reading it last night and a couple of my friends got married yesterday.
Aww.
And I had a few beers in a pub last night. So I picked up a book, read the same paragraph about 23 times and then fell asleep. So honestly, I've got no idea.
And do you know what? I went to pick Joe up from the pub and said hi to said friends there. Joe knows them much better than me. But I went to say hi. And it was really lovely, and there's just lots of people being happy. And then we ran into another friend, Ben, who was also there.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. And in his inebriated state, he was raving about this app that he's been using to make music and music videos, because he's the brains, the mastermind behind my ridiculous little jingles that you may have seen on Instagram. And if you haven't, then you need to go and find them, because they're really funny, aren't they? And you can hear really funny music, funny lyrics, and surprisingly good singing from me. But yeah, anyway, he told me about this app just in passing. He's like, oh, it's great. It's called CapCut. And I've literally just been using it to put together a brand new reel for Instagram. And it's really good. It makes it really easy to cut video and add music and, you can add text and style, captions. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Anyway, cool. So you're reading Pre-Study.
Well,
no verdict as yet.
None whatsoever. I'm going to start again, I think.
Fair enough. Oh, good.
That's the next door neighbour's burglar alarm.
Oh, it's gone. And I am reading, I'm literally on the last few pages, and I almost finished it last night, but I was so tired. I was like, I want to read at the end of the book properly without falling asleep halfway through. Almost finished Around India in 80 Trains by Manisha Rajesh, and I love it. It's so great. Haven't got much new to say other than I still want to travel around India on trains, having read the book, and go and read it and buy her other book as well, Around the World in 80 Trains, because that is also super. Really love them. I'm still reading Good Pop, Bad Pop, because I keep putting my book somewhere and I'm forgetting where I put it.
That's not like you.
How dare you? Anyway, so this week, oh my gosh, we've got walls in the bathroom.
Oh my God, plastering is done.
Yeah, we've had the walls plastered, and oh my God, they look so beautiful, and oh my God, we've now got to pay them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money. But it's so worth it. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And it kind of opens us up to a whole bunch of next steps, which is nice. The development tree has opened out again.
It really feels like I'm going to be able to have a bath by Christmas. It's very exciting. And I was in Steph's shop today in lovely... Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph.
And she's got the most enormous plants, like all the way up to the ceiling plants. I reckon one of them would only fit in this office here. I don't think it'd fit in the house because it's that tall.
I'm amazed you haven't bought it already.
Well, but it'd go in the nook by the double height ceiling by our bedroom stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're so tall and they're so amazing. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get it. And
but you can't buy that until...
2 giant banana plants.
Until that nook is being decorated and having a chair put in it.
Banana plants.
You can't buy that yet.
Giant banana plants.
You can't buy that yet. Banana plants will exist in the future.
Anyway, right. So we're talking this week about... I just wanted to run through some of the tools that I use to write my books and to help my clients write their books. And So, and I thought it might be useful for people because, I mean, it's a bit like saying, oh, what's the best car? And then you recommend your own car because that's just what everybody does. But I have tried a bunch of different, I've gone through so many apps and pieces of software and stuff and strategies and tactics and good advice. I'm doing air quotes. Good advice from, dude bros who have a wife at home to do all of the other work for them so they can go away for 3 weeks and write a book. And so I have tried a lot of stuff. So a few things. Productivity. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying and be like, you've got to be super productive all the time. But I do want to be as productive as I can be in the bounds of, the rest of my life and what I want to do. I want to make the most of the time that I'm allocating to write a book. So there's various bits and pieces that I use, and some of them are absolute essentials. So Freedom app is fab. It will block me. It's like a child lock for your social media and stuff. It will block off all the distracting websites. And actually, since I've come off Facebook, I need it a lot less, I've found. But yeah, so Freedom app is great because it blocks distracting websites. You can put anything on it that you want. So if you find yourself sliding to, obviously the social media ones are the obvious ones like Reddit and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. But also there's things like eBay and Atlas Obscura and other ones that I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go and do this thing instead. So you can add whatever websites that you want.
Okay.
And it's very cool. And you can also get the app for your devices as well. And it'll kind of sync across all your devices, which is really useful, and it will block. It works a little bit better with, I remember it was really glitchy with the Facebook app on my phone, but it worked really well with other stuff. So,
okay. So that you can set a schedule, presumably. It doesn't just block that stuff. You can kind of say after 6 p.m, it's okay. Yeah,
and so you can set lunch times, and you can set as many kind of time blocks for it as you want. It's and the other thing that I found out, I did not realize, it also offers focus sounds and music, which I didn't realize until I actually wrote the article that I wrote. I don't really use it for that because I've got other stuff that I use for that, but it's I think it's synced up with Brain FM, so it kind of binaural sounds and things like that, which is very cool. Speaking of sounds, the other thing that I wish I had bought years ago, and I think I've probably mentioned this a few times on the podcast, is my Bose noise cancelling headphones, which have been an absolute godsend.
Nice.
They are the most amazing thing. They were about 250 quid. And if they had cost twice that, I would still be grinning it with delight, because they are not only really, I can wear them because I think a lot of over-the-head headphones, over-ear headphones, they can get quite uncomfortable after a while. I've worn them for an hour and a half before they start to kind of press on the top of my head in such a way that I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to take them off now. So they're super comfy. They're really comfy around my ears. They work really well with glasses as well, which I was quite surprised about because obviously the arms of the glasses. And they just make music sound beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm hearing music for the first time.
That's nice.
Yeah. And because obviously usually we're kind of listening to it through your crappy MacBook speakers or your phone speakers or whatever. And, one day we're going to have a nice sound system in the house, right?
Anybody who listens to music through their phone speaker needs to stop doing that.
Well, I do, because I feel like there's, good sound equipment is expensive. Let's not lie. But yeah, I feel like there's a whole generation of kids out there who just don't know what it can sound like.
It should sound like, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just think that's really exciting. So yeah, My go-to white noise for that, by the way, is the relaxed guy on YouTube who just puts rain on. Like I write to rain. I can't write to music with lyrics. If I'm listening to something on a loop and I've already listened to it like 10 times, I can write to that because I'm no longer paying attention to it.
It needs to be super familiar, doesn't it?
Yep. So white noise or binaural sounds or Brain FM type music. Just kind of... trance works quite well as well. So Children by Robert Miles is a really good one. Explain why you made the face that you just made.
I once shared a student house with a guy who played Children by Robert Miles on a loop for about a year. Drove me insane.
Well, I get that because that's what I do with music. Joe looks at me like, I don't know how you can do that. And I'm like, but it's like a sound blanket. Is it because he was off his tits the whole time?
I mean, he was off his tits the whole time, but I mean, we all were.
So yeah, that's two things. The other thing that I have recently bought is my fidget toy, which Joe is currently fidgeting with.
You might have heard the odd random click. I'm sitting here.
That's one of my favourite sounds. It's like ASMR to me. It's like, it's like stroking my brain.
So it's basically like a little cube. It's about an inch square, and it's got lots of buttons and clicky things on it. So and you can just play with it.
This is my other favourite for how it feels and how it sounds. There's a little rubber. Podfly are going to be like, could you stop? One or the other. Speaking or fidgeting. It's like a little rubber button, and it just clicks so satisfyingly. And then there's like a light switch. Anyway, so I've actually found, so one of the things that I massively struggle with is watching videos, like training videos and things like that, because I will go off and I will do something else. And then I will be like, oh, damn, I've just missed the last 10 minutes and I'll have to rewind it. And then, ad infinitum. And I've found that since I've got my fidget toy, because I'm not always making notes, if I'm making notes and doing worksheets, then I can do it. If I've got my fidget toy, I can sit and listen. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. So it cost me about a tenner. It's awesome. My ergonomic keyboard, just so that my wrists stop hurting. I've got a stand for my MacBook. I've got a second screen. Second screen is amazing because my working memory lives in all of the windows that are open on my website, on my computer currently. So I've actually got relatively few tabs open today. But if you go to my tab saver, one tab, it's got a history of all of the bullshit that's currently in my head.
162 tabs.
162 tabs.
Nice.
But that's, again, it's like, I guess that's kind of a productivity tool as well, because I forget things that are currently interesting or important to me. And so I'm like, fuck, I know I was looking at something that I now need. Where is it? It's going to be in one of the saved tabs that I've got, or it's going to be one of the open tabs on my desktop. So...
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So the second screen is great for that. It's great for when I'm editing and writing as well, because I can look at notes on one screen and write on the other. That's really useful.
You need more than one screen. I spend a lot of my time on sites with my laptop balanced on top of a wheelie bin or something and plugged into some esoteric industrial network. And quite often I'm not just... got 3 windows open on my machine, but I'm also remoting into 1 or 2 other machines, and they've got windows open on them as well. And that gets really, really ugly quite quickly.
Yeah, I would get lost in that.
Yeah, well, you do. Every now and again, I just have to close everything down and start again because I'm just lost. When you're using one machine to remote into another machine and then using that machine to remote into something else as well, you're properly Inception. Remote desktoping. It's all getting a bit much.
Yeah. So second screen is a good investment.
More screens, the better.
They don't have to cost a fortune. I think mine cost about £100 is, in the grand scheme of things. I know that's a very privileged thing to say, but, they're not that expensive. So water. I forget to drink water. I have lots of water. I've got a water filter thing in my office. So I've usually got water in my office, but I have water next to you all the time because honestly, one of my main sources of feeling like shit is not eating or drinking enough. And your brain function will atrophy. Your brain function will decline rapidly if you are dehydrated or hungry.
It might be nonsense, but something like being 1% dehydrated results in a negative 20% capability or something. I mean, it's quite a lot. Yeah,
that is a stat that Joe's just pulled out of nowhere, but it does make, we can look it up, but it does make a big difference. And, tiredness as well, get enough sleep, because I remember reading somewhere sometime that driving while tired is as dangerous as driving after having a couple of drinks. And, it's difficult to regulate that. So we regulate the alcohol as we should. But yeah, it's just, tiredness, eat properly, drink properly. Especially if you're neurodiverse, like our brain function is really tied really closely to what we eat and what we drink. So like try not to make your entire lunch a bag of Skittles, which is something that I do sometimes. Yoga mat. Also have my yoga mat. I get up, I move around, I roll around on the floor. That's really useful too. So those are my main productivity tools. Planning and writing tools. Okay, just going to run through these quickly because, Dingbats notebooks. Oh, any notebook will do, I guess, but Dingbats are beautiful. The paper's beautiful. It's eco-friendly. Their paper came from Lebanon originally. I love their company ethos, and the notebooks themselves are so stunning. I have an affiliate link. Please go and buy from them through that because I just want more money to buy more Dingbats notebooks, basically. So yeah, that's fantastic. Pens. I'm really fussy about my pens. I always have at least one full box of Pentel Energel rollerball pens in black.
I'm gonna just pull you back there and use the full description of what you use because you've actually got a serial number, like a proper part number. Pentel BL27-AX Energel.
Cool. Thanks.
I mean, that's specific.
It's because I really love the pens. I really love them.
I love them too, actually. You know, the reason you don't have as many pens as you think you do is because I steal your pens.
Oh my God. That is not cool, Joe. It's not cool. But yes, so I always have a stash of them. And it reminds me of that scene in The West Wing. Do you remember when Mrs. Landingham dies and he can't find his favourite pens? And they're not like particularly special pens, the president. Can't find it. They're not like particularly expensive pens, but she always kept a box of his favourite pens in her desk drawer so that whenever he lost it or ran out or whatever, he would have. And it just always reminds me of that scene because that's kind of how I am. It's like obviously I will use whatever is to hand, but those are the pens you need. Those are the pens I really love. Yeah, they're just so smooth. And they're about £1 each if you buy them in bulk. Yeah, 15.50 for 12, I think, from Amazon. Sorry. Pencils, obviously. Coloured pencils. I love coloured pens, brush pens. I use in my creativity notebook, which is where I just doodle and sketch and write random shit. Stretch your brain. Stretch my brain. Coloured brush pens, love it. Make your notebook beautiful and colourful and something that you want to go into and play with. Notion app. Oh my God. So the notes for this podcast are in the Notion app. Yeah, everything. Like we're looking at it now. I've got my articles in there. I've got my podcast notes in there. I've got my email sequences. I've got my product ideas, descriptions. All my books are either referenced or live in there. I write my books in it as well, but that's not the only thing I write my book in because I've got fragments of books. Like the book that I'm currently writing, I've got in Notion, Scrivener, my notes app, a Google Doc somewhere, I think, my notes app on my phone and my voice notes and my notebooks. You should probably collate all that into a pile somewhere. Well, yes. I've recently started using Notion as well because I was finding that the contents of my head was crowded. And typically what I would do is I would sit down in a meeting and I'd open Notepad and I'd go, meeting, here's the 3 people who are in it, this is what we're discussing, and then I'd make some notes. And then I'd save that into a project folder and that would be sort of there for the team to see if they needed it. But yeah, Notion's better. Yes. Because you can arrange things the way you want. You can allow people access to see what you want them to see. Everybody can chip in. It's like, it's a good thing. It's interesting. And I've started trying to do cleverer things with it. You kind of just, no offense, you kind of use it as a place to put text. Yeah. And maybe categorize text or whatever. And my accountants use it they've got a spreadsheet and do stuff in it as well. So yeah, but I've started with some of the databases and like linking things and tasks and due dates and calendars and things, and it all you can get quite clever with it. Yeah. Not that I'm quite clever with it, but you can do some pretty swish things in there. Yeah, there's a whole subreddit devoted to Notion, and the people in there are really great because like people will make templates for things. So like I keep all my houseplant stuff, for example, in Notion as well, so that it reminds me to water them every week, which is the only reason they're not all dead. And I got that template from somebody who was offering it for free. And so some people offer free templates, some people I bought a couple of templates as well from people that one of them worked really well for me, the other one didn't so much. But yeah, it's just really fab. It's got a lot more scope to do stuff with than I know. And it also integrates with a lot of different software. So Harriet, because she's much cleverer than me at this kind of thing, has integrated it with Canva, which we use a lot for our social media posts and things like that. So she creates like my prompt calendar, and also we've got a content calendar for my content that she has integrated into Notion so that I can just pop in and have a look and see what am I supposed to be doing today.
That's cool.
Which is really cool. You can, it's just great. And you can nest things. And so, for example, for books, because this is, people listening to this are going to be like, okay, but books. I've got a Notion space, workspaces they're called My Books. And within that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books, not all of which are going to ever be written or have been written yet, several of which are in progress, but the one that I'm currently writing, which working title is not going to be revealed yet, I've got inside there, I've got intro, bits and pieces, random shit that might fit, research and references. And it's all in there, and you can, it's just very, very cool. So
it's a cool thing. It's quite interesting. I haven't started paying for it yet, but I think I'm going to have to.
There's a limited free version, or it's $4 a month for personal pro, $8 a month for a team, and I think per person. So if you start putting big teams, and they've got like enterprise versions for big people, but it's just great. Other productivity tools that I love, my iPhone Notes app already mentioned it. I think I've seen writing advice out there that's like, oh, you have to use Scrivener, or you have to use Google Docs, or use whatever the fuck is at hand. Like, use whatever is at hand. If you are in a position to type notes into your phone and that's all you've got, do that, because you can find it later. If you're driving and you like can't stop or whatever, use Siri to activate. I had to whisper that so they didn't wake up. But use that to activate your voice recorder.
Use a smart speaker.
Use a smart speaker to activate your voice recorder, and then record. Speak into it, because most smartphones now have got a voice recorder, right? Yeah. So that's really cool. And then I can email them to myself and transcribe it myself, or get it transcribed by. And I think Apple's native thing is now in like doing a transcription thing that is native to it. It's not great at the moment, but
it'll get better.
So that's all of those little things that will probably come with your phone. Scrivener, love Scrivener, also hate Scrivener. I hate that it's incredibly dense and complicated, and the user manual is about 3 million pages long.
Right.
It can do a lot. I think someone's doing loop the loops above us in a little plane.
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it?
But I love that it is a beautiful word processor, and it's built by authors for authors, and you can tell. I don't like the publishing side of things because I think it's clunky, and I think there are better ways of doing it, unless you are willing to spend a lot of time learning, and I'm not. But what I really love is that it's a fantastic organizer of ideas, chapters, sections. You can tag things, you can use notes, it's got a corkboard where you can move bits of writing around within. So it's like Notion, but one step further in a kind of visual way. And it's just very, very, very cool. It's also remarkably inexpensive. It's £47. Or if you are a student or an educational institution, it's $39.95, and that's lifetime.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So I also have an affiliate link for that. And I think they also give you a 30-day free trial, but it's 30 real days of use. So it's not like
starting today and closing in a month. It's 30 days of use.
Yeah, which is my kind of trial, because who's going to use most things every day for a month? Nobody. So I love that. 750words.com, absolute favorite tools, $5 a month. And it's designed to build a strong writing habit. So based on Julia Cameron's morning pages, the idea is that you write 700 words every day, 750 words a day on anything. I empty my brain into it, and then I also often write essays and things in it as well. So sometimes I end up writing thousands of words in it, but it's just fab. And then I copy it to wherever I want my writing to be.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's building a habit. Oh, look, here's one of my tools that I made. My Start Your Book templates. These are my products. I struggle massively with getting started and finishing stuff, and I could not find anything that worked for me to help me write the nonfiction books that I write. So I made my own templates. Currently, there are 5 of them. There are going to be more as I think of more things. And they're also going to be continually improved as well.
Continually?
Continually. So if you buy them, you get like a link to where they are, because they are in Google Docs for people who don't have Notion and in Notion for people who do have Notion. And I am continually improving them. So you can go back, like every time I update them, I email everybody who's bought them and I'm like, here is an update, free. You don't have to pay again.
Yeah.
And they are £49 each, or you can get all 5 of them for 199 beans.
Nice.
Yeah, they're really good. One of the people who, one of the lovely testimonials I got was, she said that it was literally the only tool that she'd ever found that actually got her started writing her book. So I was really pleased with that.
That's cool.
There's also obviously my book, How the Hell Do You Write a Book, which you can get from my website, Buy the Book, moxiebooks.co.uk/buy the book. Oh, the templates are moxiebooks.co.uk/start your book templates with hyphens in between. All this will be in the show notes. My free Moxie calendar prompts as well, totally free, moxiebooks.co.uk calendar, free daily prompt calendar, and my writing group. Nothing wonderful is ever created alone, no matter what some people might have you believe. You can come and try us out for £1 for the first week. Join live online writing sessions with the best group of people. Some of whom have been with me. I worked this out the other day for I think like 6 or 7 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I think in Mike's case, I think it's since 2015, which is that's 8 years, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi Mike.
Hi Mike.
Mike is so close to finishing his book as well.
Oh my God.
So excited. So yeah, you can find out more about that at moxiebooks.co.uk/power hour. That will take you to there. You can try it out for £1 for the first week. And after that, it's £50 a month. And if you come to every single session, which is about 40 of them, it's like, £1 a session. So, and then finally, just very quickly going to run through a few editing tools, I think.
Editing tools.
So, Remarkable tablet. Wondered if this was going to be a very expensive piece of tech.
This is like a digital notepad thing.
Yeah, it's really great. It's a bit pricey. Did wonder if it was going to be a thing that I never use, but it's actually great. I use it mostly for editing, working on client books, also my own books as well, and also for doing training courses, because I don't like printing out loads of stuff, like loads of paper, because eco blah. And also I lose it. So you can import PDFs onto the Remarkable and then scribble on them.
So
love.
You use it like you seem to be using it as an e-reader rather than as a writing tool.
No, I do both, because I also have notebooks that I open. So if I'm taking notes on something that somebody has got workbooks for or has done videos for, then I will often take notes in my Remarkable, because I can then import them into the same folder in Notion that has got all of my other notes and the videos and things. So, because also it does script to text recognition, which is really cool.
OCR.
Yes, thank you. Which, works better with some handwriting than other handwriting, I guess, but it does a pretty good job. So yeah, I did wonder if I would actually use it, and I really do. It's £299 at the moment, so it's not cheap. I don't think they ever discount it. They don't do an affiliate either, which is really irritating. But I really like it. I'm also aware that it's quite expensive. If you've already got an iPad, you can get some decent writing.
Some apps that do similar things.
Yeah, and the Apple Pencil works really well. And I got a screen cover that mimics paper really well for the iPad.
Makes it have a bit of grip.
Yeah, and I used that for my cartooning. So... and yeah, people do art on the Remarkable as well. If you Google Remarkable art, there's some incredible stuff. So there's that. And then a few little other things. Coloured pens and Post-it notes, again, invaluable for editing. Stick your coloured Post-it notes all over the place. And also, a new thing that I've discovered, transparent Post-it notes, which you can stick over the pages of a book if you want to, and just kind of write notes but still see what's underneath it without damaging the book, which is really, really nice. So I do tend to scribble in the margins of my books, but if I'm borrowing a book from somebody, I would never do that, because that's like
bit rude.
Yeah, special place in hell for people who do that. But yeah, there's that. Grammarly, such a useful tool to run writing through to catch typos and spelling mistakes. It's really good if you can't stretch to a professional proofreader, although not infallible. Pro Writing Aid is better, in my opinion. It's very similar to Grammarly in that it does kind of the same thing, but it also does a plagiarism check if you pay for it. Sometimes worry that if I've written something that inadvertently swiped it from elsewhere, because, you know, your brain will store stuff and then pull it out later. And so you can just run it through and check it. It also does really cool stuff, like it will check for style and have you know, how many times do you use words and what are your writing tics. And it does a lot of stuff. It's very good if you can't stretch to a professional editor, or you don't want to for whatever reason.
It will take a lot of wrinkles out of your writing.
It will take a lot of wrinkles out, yeah. And it's really reasonable. $20 a month, $79 a year, or $399 for the lifetime. I got a really good deal on it.
So if you'd written a book and you wanted to run it through this thing, you could buy it for a month, smash your book through it, and then you're done. Yeah.
And I am just going to reiterate, it is not a substitute for a professional copy editor or developmental editor.
Sure.
But I know that not everybody has the budget for that. And so if you don't have the budget for a real human, it's a really, really good thing to do. And also just if you're writing a lot of content and blog posts and stuff like that, you know, run it through Pro Writing Aid, which I always forget to do. So if you see typos, that's why. Google Docs, extremely useful when I'm working with clients on their manuscripts. Extremely useful if you want to send stuff to beta readers, because they can all comment in the same document, which sounds terrifying. Kind of is, but also really useful. So it's free, or you can pay for storage on Google Drive if you want. So that's really cool. And then I think we'll do publishing tools another time, because it's half an hour in and I'm bored of talking.
Fair enough.
But I think that's like, hopefully, I don't know. What do you think of those tools? Is there anything that you would add?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's loads of stuff that I use that are specific to the things that I do, but they're not really writing aids. They're more...
Well, thinking aids though as well.
I mean, I need a big whiteboard and a pen.
Yeah, that's a useful thing.
I need a big whiteboard and a pen, and possibly some post-its and some magnets. Yes, I can't. Yeah, and I need Excel.
Oh God, Excel makes me break out in hives.
Just because of the things I do, I need Excel. Yeah, real bad.
But I know a lot of writers who write in Excel, which makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, they're crazy.
But I mean, I can kind of see why, but I'm like, nah. But yeah, I like the whiteboard and the post-it notes thing because it's very tactile, right? It's good to be able to move around.
And yeah, standing up, and, every time I need to explain something to somebody, I find standing up in front of a whiteboard is a very good way to make sure that everybody understands what's going on.
That's true.
Including yourself.
Yeah. Do you know what I would really like at some point? It's one of those fancy, beautiful glass screen, like glass things that you can just write on. So it's like a whiteboard, but it's just fancier.
We got some of those in the office when we spruced up the office. We got glass whiteboards, and we got some coloured ones, and we got some see-through ones. And honestly, the maintenance of the pens is really, really dull.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you end up with wishy-washy pens or buying new pens every week.
Well, there you go. Heard it here first.
Yeah.
Which is not eco-friendly or pocket-friendly.
Don't do it.
No.
Get yourself a whiteboard.
Yeah. Okay. Right, what else?
I don't know. I mean, you've touted a few products there.
I have. They're all things that I use and love. So yeah, I would really love it if people would come and try out my Power Hours, because they're so great. It's a funny old thing, because it's a really difficult thing to encourage people to come and try, because
they think, well, I'll just put some things in a calendar and I'll just do the writing.
Yeah.
But then they don't. And, you know, with the best will in the world, if you ain't doing it now, you ain't going to do it. Because what's going to change? You need to have something change. And it's like skin in the game really helps. Like actually paying money for something is a real good incentive to go and use it. But also, you know, making a commitment to be in the same place with a lot of people. Like, this is why people like make appointments to meet their friends or their personal trainer at the gym. It's like you have to turn up then. Yeah, because it's accountability, isn't it?
It's accountability, yeah. So there's all of that, but it's not just that, because there are free writing groups out there as well. And, you know, even if you don't join my group, I would like you to, but even if you don't, find a group of writers to write with. But my group of writers
is the best.
It is just awesome, because the people, like the breadth and depth of knowledge and skills in that group. So like, yes, we write, but we spend 10, 15 minutes at the start having a chat and setting goals and accountability. And people like, I've got a question about this. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about that thing, but someone in the group will. And so, you know, we've built up this library of incredible little lessons and tips, and yes, loads of creative writing and publishing stuff from me, but also just like, questions about money, about staff, about productivity, about accounts, about websites. Do you know what I mean? About literally everything to do with running a business and some stuff to do with running a life. And it's just this incredible library of knowledge that I'm really proud of. Kind of bringing these people together. It's not all my knowledge, but like I'm really proud of bringing these people together, and they're kind and they're generous and they're awesome. And if any of them are listening to this podcast, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being part of Team Moxie. And most of them have become, well, pretty much all of them, the ones that I see regularly, have become friends in real life. And so yeah, it's all very cool. And I also just want to say a special shout out to Louise today, because she's going through stuff. And hi, Louise. And
Hi, Louise.
We love you. And yeah, that's it. So come join Team Moxie. Go to moxiebooks.co.uk/power hour.
Lovely.
Give us a try. Right, we'll be back next week. Same time next week.
Same time next week.
Yeah.
See you there.
Thank you so much to Podfly for making this sound wonderful, to Harriet for organising things.
Sorry about all the clicks and stuff in the middle.
Sorry about that. And thank you to you, dear listener, for listening. And if you've enjoyed it, what do they do?
5 stars, rate it, share it, tell your friends.
Subscribe. Tell one person. If you love this podcast, tell one person about it and get them to subscribe, because maybe they'll tell a person and then they'll tell a person. And in fact, tell 2 people.
Tell 100 people.
And then it'll grow exponentially. But yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Take it easy, folks.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Check out the show notes at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast for links to everything we've mentioned in this episode. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you'd like to hear more from Notes in the Margin, you can sign up to get regular emails from Vicky into your inbox at moxiebooks.co.uk/notes in the margin. We'll be back same time next week.